Audrey Cruikshank, 703 3rd Avenue Southeast. I kind of wanted to talk to the mayor about his behavior on television, but he's gone, so I can't mention that. I would like to request, and maybe I should be talking to Mr. Barnett, but I heard that the mayor said that the city park is always closed in the winter, and I've lived in Pacific just about 70 years, and until the sandbags got put around that river, that park, it was never closed in the winter. You can't close it. So only when the sandbags went up and the driveway was closed with more sandbags has it been closed. And next week is midwinter break for the students in the Auburn School District. And I drove by the other day, and there was a woman with her little kids at the playground, and she had, the stroller was out on the outside by the sandbags, and a little girl's bike, and they must have climbed over. I don't even know how people get in there, but I guess they climb over. And so she was in there with the kids, and they were playing on the toys, and the bike and the stroller were outside. And so I think that at least one of those openings, one of those roads, one of those driveways should be open so that people can get in. Because kids don't care if it's raining, or they don't care if it's cold. They're running around in shorts anyway. So my request is that park be open. That's what it's there for. It's for the people. Thank you.
Katie, you ready? And Dawn, you're up next. Okay.
Okay. Katie Garberding, 366 White River Drive. This was actually intended for the mayor, but he'll get a copy. Please correct me if I am wrong, but we've critically downsized our police force from 14 to 7. The police department consists of 4 officers, 1 sergeant, 1 lieutenant, 1 detective, and 1 public safety director that's currently on medical leave due to stress. It's my belief that these officers are being forced to work long hours with no days off, and that they're stretched tighter than a rubber band. They're stretched to the limits, and it's only a matter of time before we're at the point where something or someone is going to snap. I can't see how a skeleton staff can provide protection and safety to over 6,300 residents with an average of 7,500 calls for protection or service each year. It should be the mayor's priority, top priority, to have a police force for its citizens. I, for one, do not feel safe or secure, especially when the reporters from the Auburn Reporter are writing articles in their newspapers announcing to every thug, thief, and criminal of our dilemma, which is basically a written invitation for them to come to our town and inflict harm. Printing these articles telling them that Pacific is open for crime, being that they don't have a police force to protect its town of 6,300 citizens. And it only adds to the police officers that are already stressful and have a huge workload. This also includes our TV reporters, which our lovely mayor called assets, which I thought was quite amusing. I want to know how the Public Works Department compares to the Police Department according to his My Turn 7. Water and sewer lines and roads and ditches are important to a community, and he states in his blog that the Public Works Department is working a 40-hour week and that they're on call. But there is a big difference. Their shifts are not working 10 to 14 hours a day for 18 days without a day off of rest. They work their 40 hours and maybe some overtime. If they were working the hours of the police officers, I can guarantee you they'd either quit or they'd hit the city with another lawsuit. As for the money for hiring more police officers, that money has already been allocated in the approved budget. Money that he can't use for any other department. The money's there. He needs to pay attention. The money being spent on police overtime are sufficient to hire, at minimal, one more police officer. The way I see it is he is either too stubborn to admit that he's wrong, or he's purposely trying to create more lawsuits for the city. And I can guarantee it, that if the city continues to abuse, neglect, and overwork our current police officers, mistakes will be made, injuries and or deaths will occur, and the city will be held liable. Then he will be complaining that Attorney Luce's annual billing fees is over budget again and will be at risk of losing another insurance provider, a cost that the city shouldn't have to endure if he would stop creating situations that keep putting the city into legal jeopardy.
Thank you.
Don Thompson,
106 Second Avenue Southeast. Last June, I committed to do a recall on their side side. The support was overwhelming. In August 23rd, I filed this document. Okay? It has not 41 charges, it has 10 charges of it. 2 stuck, 5 was declared of serious and grave concern. The 41 number comes from the exhibits backing up the 10 charges. Okay? That's where the 41 come from. Their son instead stated that 41 charges. There wasn't 41 charges. There was only 10 charges. Okay? I contracted, I obligated myself with our attorney, took it to Superior Court. They won 2 charges with, like I say, 5 serious to grave. He then appealed to the state Supreme Court. Again, I contracted an attorney personally to take it to the state Supreme Court. From the very beginning, we have had obstacles, delays, and interference by him and his attorney. We have overcome them all. On February 5th of this year, 5 Chief Justices and his 4 associates at the state Supreme Court made a ruling. They took out everything we requested to have taken out. They took out everything he requested to have put in. What it ended up as, this filing will be totally reviewed. All of the 7 charges that we originally had great concern on or was approved. Okay? We had another delay. It seems like Mr. Perkins decided that he was going to be out of the country from February 9th through February 23rd. I gave him credit for having the money to go on an out-of-country vacation. Hooray! But that gave us a month delay in our next court hearing. On April 4th, the state Supreme Court is going to hear a case. At that time, we'll have the opportunity to bring to the vote of the citizens the recall. I thank you very much for your time.
Wayne, come on up.
Okay, I'm going to keep it short. I wasn't going to talk this time. Dwayne Grotz, 122 3rd Avenue Northwest. It's obvious from the mayor's blogs, which I don't know if anybody reads these because they're kind of semi-incoherent, and I don't think he's writing them, that he will not hire the 2 police officers. We're in a real problem here. First gentleman talked, he kind of sold us on why we need police officers, even though he wanted to disband the city. It seems like there was a writ of mandamus, I believe is the term, that was applied for. He went to Pierce County Court, and the court said, okay, Mayor, you got to do this. You got to hire certain people. I don't know if he's ever gotten around to hiring all the people. I doubt it, but it doesn't seem like anything's happened with that for a long time. Can we add the police officers to this writ, apply for another writ, which I know costs more money for the attorney, but what can we do legally to force him to hire the police officers while we're going through the recall process? This is not going away. I heard at that last workshop, I believe, that Lieutenant Massey said that there's 1 officer that's practically hired by the city of Kent, or I can't remember what city it was. So that means there's 1 more leaving. Now we'll be down to 3. I don't know if that counts right. So 3 officers 24/7 coverage, so one officer, 8 hours on a shift. This is just crazy. So please do something, no matter what else is going on, to try to get the officers hired and relieve the officers of the burden that they're having to deal with right now. Thank you.
That was the last form that I had. Did we miss anybody? Or did we run out of forms?
The mayor's got mine. My name's Pat Perry, 123 Mount Vista Place Southwest. I am really concerned about the police department part of this. When we no longer have law enforcement officers to respond, it doesn't take a mathematical genius here, guys, to figure out that 3 people cannot cover a 24-hour shift. And this city will have lawsuits. One of the questions I did have was, as a citizen, can we hold the mayor liable for not holding them, for not hiring them? Is there anything we can do to sue him? He's throwing him on the drain, you know? He seems to be willing to throw us under the drain. And it's really not a laughing matter because most of us own homes in specific. These are things that do like the Hilltop neighborhood in Tacoma, when all of us start losing value in our homes, which most of us have already lost a lot of value anyway. We're starting to get that back, but do we really want to become the Hilltop neighborhood? Because when this stuff comes over Como 4 News, the lady is correct. It's a feeding frenzy for a lot of trouble. And, sorry, Mr. Massey, it's a terrible thing though. And there's much better people in this room to do something different than what's going on in this town. And let's try to fix it together. Because it's really kind of scary. I got my son, you guys have got your families, and not only is it scary, it's just plumb stupid.
Anybody else? Going once, going twice, last chance. So I asked Councilmember Putnam to give me his rules of procedure, and we have clearly in here that immediately following public comments, the presiding officer shall place an item on the agenda, move it to a future agenda, refer it to an administrative staff member or committee, or state that we will not take it up for future action. Is there a desire by the council to do any of those for the comments that we heard tonight?
Is there any further, practically speaking, is there any action we can take at this point on the police? I think we're quite firmly on the record. We've adopted the money. It's in the budget. We're going to hire them. The first RIP that went down specifically had police hiring struck from it by the court. Because that was something that was within the mayor's discretion, and at the time, he sounded reasonable to the court, I guess. What can we do at this point?
I'm sorry, excuse me, did he say that it was on that writ for the police department, or was it only the front office?
We had requested it in the writ. It was struck in the final writ.
It was struck, so you would have to refile then, is that correct?
I'm not the attorney, but I asked the attorney to clarify what he thinks the likely outcome of that should be.
Before we do, it sounds like there actually may be some merit to adding this to the agenda. I don't want us to get...
I think we can cover it under the item P that was added.
Well, let's do that. Any other items that council wanted to add to the agenda or refer?
I don't know if this is the right place, but I've done it the last 2 meetings, and I'll do it again, that I'd make a motion to strongly encourage the mayor to hire the budgeted police position.
Councilmember Walker has made a motion that the council strongly encourage the mayor to hire the budgeted police position. Is there a second? I'll give the second to Councilmember Guyer. Councilmember Walker, speak to your motion.
I can't say any more than anybody else has already said.
Councilmember Guyer, speak to the second.
Citizens deserve a statement.
Further remarks, second.
The mayor does not have veto authority on anything with the fiscal.
It says the mayor has to do his
But
job.
by refusing
The
to
mayor can do
hire
his job, that's what he can do.
police officers that have been budgeted by the council is a backdoor veto on fiscal note.
Gary, you want to speak in there so they can hear you?
Oh, you know.
The mayor does not have veto authority on anything with the fiscal note. I don't care if it's a penny. He doesn't have veto
veto authority on. By refusing to hire officers budgeted by the council, he's doing a backdoor veto.
Further remarks by council? Councilmember Jones?
The only concern I have with this motion, and I concur wholeheartedly with the action, is he has already stated in his blog that he adamantly refuses, no matter what we do or say, that he is not going to do his job in relationship to hiring adequate police officers based upon the budget and the head count this council has passed. As such, yes, I think the citizens need to take what legal action you guys can find against the mayor in relationship to this. Because the council, generally speaking, our hands are tied. We are stuck with legislation with no authority.
Councilmember Putnam?
I just wanted to point out that in the most recent pay period, one officer had 12 days without a break, and if I remember correctly, the finance can correct me if I'm wrong, 57 hours of overtime in a 16-day pay period. And that is not a schedule that promotes public safety. That is not a schedule that promotes alert, aware policing. That is not a schedule that retains valuable employees who have families they'd like to go home to.
Before we get back to round two, Councilmember Steiger, did you have a comment?
Yes, I was gonna bring this up under the public safety, but it looks like we got into that. First thing is, what the mayor is doing right now, he is holding the safety of our citizens of town hostage because he's on a personal vendetta against the police department. This is a total personal thing that he has against the police department. So he is not accepting that he is interfering with the safety of our citizens. And you take, I don't understand on federal laws. I know that it is a situation with, for example, a long haul driver. He can only run 10 hours. Then he has to take rest. Now, they use the terminology all the time, well, he's playing with a loaded gun over 10 hours. We have an officer out there, 12 hours, he's carrying a loaded gun. I mean, and you take an officer right now, for example, that, like you said, that worked 16 days straight or something, and he worked 57. Okay, let's say during those long days like that, he had all of a sudden about ready to get off his 12-hour shift, and he has to get into a high-speed chase, well over 100 miles an hour, down 167 or something. I mean, his reflexes are gone, he's tired. I mean, anything could happen. Many, many people could get hurt in a situation like this. And even if he be faced into a hostage situation in a house or something where firearms are involved, his reactions are slower than it should be. I mean, there's many, many things that come into play on this, and we could reach out, but we could get no help from any politician, no help from anybody from the state, no help from anybody from the county, no help from any federal. I mean, here we have a situation where one man is putting everybody's safety on the line in the city of Pacific, and here we are being run down by one man saying that it's all our fault. Well, and I'm being accused of calling the mayor a liar. You're right, I called him a liar, and I got many other things I'm going to call him a liar about tonight. So it's time that we get the news media on board at every channel and everything else, and get every citizen, get to every house, and let them know that what is going on for sure, because we have people that use the town right now as their bedroom. In other words, they both work, They leave town in the morning, and especially if they don't have children or anything, they come home at night, and they leave again the next morning. So, those are the people we need to get involved, that there's nobody watching their homes when they're not home, because we don't have police force to do it.
Councilmember Walker.
To Josh's point with the overtime, the numbers I've seen, which are unofficial numbers, but overtime in the month of January was around 200 hours compared to, I think, 63 for last year. So just to give you an idea of, just from a financial aspect, where this is going. And I think Katie said it, it's, we could hire another officer for that, or close to.
Almost two, with the overtime pay.
Gordon, can we keep audience comments down, please? Further remarks by council. Now, comments from the audience. I think we've got one. Come on up.
It's not gonna be me.
I think that was you, Jack. We've got it down in the place forever.
Sorry. Gotta take that to school lesson.
I won't make you raise your hand.
Really?
Can you give your name and address?
Again?
I can. It helps.
Katie Garberding, 366 White River Drive. It was 2 meetings ago, I think it, her. Betty, thank you. Betty had said how much money was spent in overtime, and then I spoke with one of the police officers, and he had told me that that was enough for a full-time officer and then some. So I'm assuming 1.5 police officers maybe in the overtime that's paid. And then one of the other officers had told me that when they do get the opportunity to hire another officer or two, it's gonna take about 6 months to get them online. Is that true?
At least.
So we're gonna be sitting ducks for at least, if someone was hired tomorrow, we'd be sitting ducks for at least 6 months.
Depends on whether it's a lateral position or entry level position. If it's a lateral position, they come already trained, but there's still a 3-month training period that they still need to go through.
What are you looking for? If you were allowed to hire somebody tomorrow, what would you go find?
Well, because of the immediate needs, if it's okay, if it's with the council permission, if it's to address the immediate needs, we would like to go entry level, because we can make those officers, we can train them the way we want them to be trained.
And not have to untrain.
Correct. So that would be the preferred method, but because of the situation as it exists now, we don't have the luxury of time to do that. So we would have to go with the lateral position before we would consider the entry level.
Further comments on that? Come on up.
Don Thompson, 416 Second Avenue South. I'm not sure that in the state law, I know unions have it, that after a certain point of overtime, it goes into double time, and eventually into double time and a half. So these hours, they're costing the city a lot of money.
Further comments from the audience? Come on up.
Good evening. Stacy Jackson, 644 Spokane Avenue South. I'd just like to know, is there a police union? Because I'm also in the union, and there are restrictions on how many hours a person can work. And if there is not any restrictions, all I can say is the insurance company we do have now, they're listening, they're reading, and we're going to lose our insurance. That's what's going to happen. These officers should not be working that many hours. We do need the officers. We have to find a way, cut something in the budget, but we got to get the officers. They need a break.
Money's there.
Can we keep comments down, please?
So if the money's there, we just need to find a way either, well, they said your hands are tied. But we have to do something. We have to do something. I mean, even if we do have a union with the police officers, maybe they can talk to their union leaders and see what they can do. But that much overtime, like you said, a loaded gun, high-speed chase, you know, and the news is down here. It's open season down here in Pacific. And I hate for somebody to break in someone's house and get shot before the mayor really realized that we do need more officers.
further comments from the audience? Going once, going twice? Go. We're back to remarks from council on the motion by Councilmember Walker. Further remarks? Seeing none, the motion before the council is the motion by Councilmember Walker, second by Councilmember Guyer, to strongly encourage the mayor to fill the budgeted police position. Did I get that right? Yep. Good. We'll do a roll call, council.
Councilmember Jones?
Aye.
Councilmember McMahon?
Aye.
Councilmember Putnam?
Aye.
Councilmember, Steiger?
Aye.
Councilmember Walker?
Aye.
Councilmember Guyer?
Aye.
Councilmember Halsey?
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right. 54 minutes into it, and I think we're done with audience comments. We'll report, first up is the mayor.